Hey friends, I'm Heidi with Lilac Vine Orchards, and we need to get garden beds created so that we can start this crazy idea for a flower farm that we're talking about. But we have no money, like $0 to spend on them. And I don't know about y'all, but these whole building raised garden beds can be insanely expensive. So we're gonna forage around a little bit, see what we might be able to find, and try to come up with 4 10x4 garden beds with $0. Ready? Let's go. I'm glad you guys are here. We are a family in Western North Carolina, Zone 7B, attempting to start a flower farm. And we've had about a max of about $200 to put into this initial investment. We spent a decade as just wedding florists and wedding planners in the industry. We've been in ministry full-time for about the past 5 years. And now we're kind of coming back to this land of flowers again, which I'm really excited about. Of course, you guys go and check out our other videos. You can hear our whole story and all of that. But what this came down to is we have just under 8 acres here in beautiful North Carolina, not too far off the Blue Ridge Parkway. And we have always said since we moved here, we need to make the land work for us. And we never have, and we've never gotten to it. There's always a million reasons why we haven't. And this yard is just so much to keep up with. So this year we said, you know what, we're gonna do it. We are going to start a flower farm. Problem being, we've got like no money to put into it. We love our jobs. We serve in ministry full time. It's amazing. It's not where you wanna go if you wanna just be rolling in the dough and have a bunch of extra money to put towards stuff. So that means that we need to be resourceful, that we need to look around and see the things that are provided to us and to work with what we've got, right? The Lord promises to provide us each day what we need, and so if I don't have it, I must not need it. That means I can find something that's gonna work here. That is my motto, that is my attitude, and that's what we are doing with building these garden beds. Now, the plan, for starters, is to do a huge field of sunflowers. Fantastic, we have space, we're just gonna plop them down in the ground, done deal. But I also want to plant a bunch of other stuff, which stay tuned. I'm going to share with you guys everything that we're planting. And that means that I need some sort of garden bed. I really don't want to spend all of my time weeding. And we have so much that grows on our property that I kind of need these designated beds so that we know where the stuff we planted is and how it's growing, and help it to not be competing with all of the stuff that is growing all around it. And so we need some sort of garden beds. And the more I looked and just looking at different things and all of that, it's so expensive. Now, if this was earlier in the season and I could have connected with people and been collecting people's compost or doing different things and gathering stuff up, sure, we could have maybe totally knocked this out, but we're not. That is not where we're at. And so we are pressed for time because stuff I think should have already been started, absolutely. We have no money and we've got to make something happen right now. So that means plan B, how on earth do we make free garden beds? Can we even do that? I don't know. This is our plan. So first and foremost, I tried to just kind of assess what it is that we need. I would like to have 4 flower beds, and we're gonna do them about 4 feet by 10 feet, okay? That's what we want to start with. Now I have plenty of room that we can do all kinds of stuff, but I'm trying to keep myself in moderation here. Then I want to look at what is it that we do have available to us. I don't have a great rich compost. I don't have, right? There's lots of things that I don't have. I don't have a budget to go and buy a bunch of lumber to build these beds or any pre-made things. And how are we gonna fill them? I don't even have money for a bunch of weed barrier rolls and things like that. So how on earth are we gonna do this on the super cheap? Here's our idea. Step 1, we are going to come and mark out where it is that we need these 4 garden beds. My brother is my super duper helper, and he is being so amazing and helping me out, of course, with the kids and hubby as well, but he has been so great in helping me with my little reindeer games here of things to do. So we're gonna measure out these 4 beds where we want them, making sure sunlight and spacing and all of that stuff is great. We're gonna measure out what we need and just kind of put sticks in the ground and mark out where we need these 4 beds. Once we have measured and checked and they're where we want them, he's gonna go ahead and mow them on the lowest setting possible. We're gonna knock everything down as low as it can go. And then with some help from our kiddos, they are going to pull out some cardboard. Now, we try to condense as much trash that we have to pay to have hauled away each week. And so, we usually keep cardboard and things like that we just usually have like a bonfire and do s'mores and burn, you know, from time to time. That was kind of nice. It meant that we had that available. We have lots and lots of just random cardboard that we can use to be our kind of base layer. That way it will block out the light to everything down underneath it. That means that hopefully at least a good chunk of the grass and wildflowers and weeds of whatever kind that normally grow in our fields, that stuff will be suppressed. And then it also means that we will not be just completely destroying all of the organisms and things that live in our soil. They can still be there and be healthy. We have amazing worms. We actually, I think, have really good soil. So I'm really excited to see how our stuff grows this year because nothing else seems to have a problem growing out here. So hopefully the flowers won't either. But we're gonna put that layer of cardboard down then to be kind of our barrier. It's free, we have it. Even if you didn't have it, cardboard's an easy thing to be able to go to grocery stores and things like that. Usually people have a lot that they're willing to get rid of. I know people have also used different like thicker paper or layers of newspaper, things like that. We just happen to have cardboard, that's what we're gonna use. So we've measured them out, we've mowed it down really low. We're going to put a layer of cardboard down on the ground. Now we're gonna make sure we water that really well so that way everything has got lots of moisture in it. And then for our soil, what we are going to do, the one thing we do have a lot of, it's behind me, you see all this forested area, we have some great rich soil here in the trees. Really, the sod, the grass, you know, none of that is growing in there, and the soil is just so black and rich. We have so many, you know, like old growth that's fallen down and is decomposing into it, and just really, really rich soil here in the areas around us. And so that's something we have access to. We have a lot of forested area. All but where our driveway is bordered in by this forested area. And so with a little bit of sweet talking, my amazing brother, he is going to take the wheelbarrow, clear himself a path into the woods here, and start collecting some rich topsoil for me. Now that will go down and kind of be our base layer, hopefully get, you know, a few inches of rich soil there from the forest that will make up our garden beds. And then last but not least, to kind of frame this all in, help it hold all together, and also give our teenage son very clear markers of where not to mow once everything gets going. We have a lot of very thin trees that have grown up and they're just not healthy. They're way too close together here in our forested areas, and they've needed to be thinned out a little bit. We also have some trees that have come down over the winter and things like that. We are going to cut those down, kind of limb those up a little bit, and just use a few of these skinny poles from the trees here. Just take those full tree trunks and build a border around our garden beds. So that will hold that, you know, topsoil from the forest, that will hold all of that in there nice and secure. If we get rain and stuff, I don't want everything just washing away. So that will hold that there. That will help us to keep some definition and kind of define where these spaces are, and also give us a nice border. So when we are out here mowing and doing stuff, nobody's accidentally, you know, taking out a garden bed of, you know, snapdragons or something. So that is the goal and the plan of utilizing cardboard we already had, topsoil from the forest, and old and down trees for our borders to make us some garden beds for free. It's gonna be a lot of work. I'm not really excited about that part of it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. We need these beds made so stuff can be in the ground, so we can give this a shot, so we can try our hand here at flower farming. And I think so often it's so easy to give up and be like, well, I don't have the resources, I don't have the whatever. Yeah, I get that. It makes sense. But what if we get a little crafty? What if we get a little, instead of saying, I just can't do it because I don't have the money, how can I do it? Well, what can I do to make that happen? Well, I can use what the land has given me to be the resources that I need to give it a shot. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. The stuff in the forest grows really great, but my flowers don't, right? Maybe that's the case. And yeah, if I had the money to just go and buy really nice made, you know, raised garden beds, yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. But I don't, and I'm not gonna let that stop me. So, break's over, let's get to it and build up four big old 4 by 10 foot garden beds. Let's do it. I'm pretty sure I have just about worn out my sister points, but my brother was amazing. The kids helped out, my husband, you know, all of us kind of working together, but my brother was an amazing trooper and he went up into the trees and pulled up loads and loads and loads of topsoil for the 4 garden beds here. Of course, when you come out into this big space and I go, man, we could easily put like 8 more sets of these in this field alone and still have plenty of space. And my whole family kind of looked at me with that look. And I said, you're right. We are first-year flower farmers. We don't even know how much we can sell. Like, we have no idea. Maybe right now isn't the time to, you know, duplicate these like crazy, but we have some beds in the ground now. We've got them here. We have covered the grass that they were on. We've put on some great rich soil, and then I went ahead and did some just dried leaves that were already starting to break down kind of in between the trees up here in the forested area, and just kind of mulch spread that over the top. Now, we're gonna give this a couple days and just keep watering it. We've got some rain hopefully coming in a little bit later today, and make sure everything stays good and moist so things can start breaking down and just coming to life and doing all the great stuff that needs to do. Ooh, bugs. So we're gonna let that do that, and then hopefully here in a couple days, the first beds are gonna go in, right? The first seeds, the first flowers, the first little bit of hope here for Lilac and Vine Orchards is going to go into the soil, and I'm so super excited. So be sure to turn on those little notification bells when you subscribe so you guys can see what we're planning, how we're gonna plot it out, and what the hope and plan is here to get these first crops of beautiful flowers. So they're in the ground. I feel so much better. We've got some just using trees and things that had fallen down and broken down, little thin stuff that needed to get cleared out as kind of our borders. But I think there's something like romantic and charming about just using what the land has for us and what's provided in abundance all around us, in being kind of crafty in that way of giving things a purpose, right? We have all these thin trees that need to get thinned out so that the established trees can be healthier and have the space they need. So allowing them to still be on the property and serve a purpose here as we build up our beds. And again, hopefully we can add a little more, make them a little deeper, continue to add on to this. Definitely before we like super spread out and make more beds of this, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of really difficult work trying to get this topsoil up, and then the roots that were in the ground and trying to then pick the roots out of the soil and do all of that. It was a ton of work. I think I definitely need to start looking around and seeing where we can get a truckload of compost, of manure. We have our own compost pile. It just is much smaller for like personal use, and so it isn't quite like this category. But I'm thinking that we need to earn some money with these flowers so that we can invest in a truckload of some good compost. I've been on the chip drop list for a while. Hopefully we can get some wood chips coming in. Until we can get a truckload of that, I think the expansion of anything that needs a prepped bed like this is gonna have to wait, because like I said, my sister points might be wearing a little thin after all of this. So thanks for hanging out with us, and see how we have started using no money and just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and what the property has available for us to get started here with our flower farm. I will leave you guys this video here if you want a little something else to watch about what we're doing. Otherwise, we will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.